What's up, YouTube? It's your big homie AP. I want to discuss this meeting that took place between Trump and Zelensky. Um, there's a lot of ways to take it. There's a lot of people that feel one way or the other. But what I want to do today is break the meeting itself and the sentiments in the meeting itself. I want to break it down and use a story, analogy, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to use Trump and Zelensky. So I want y'all to bear with me. I will break this conversation down using street terms. And after this video is over, then I want you to get in the comment section and tell me, who do you think is wrong in this situation? Now, I'm doing it this way because some people feel strongly about either person, and I want to take your emotions out of it. And we're just going to talk about what's going on, and we're going to use a very, you know, a good comparison to tell the story of what's happening and help us better see from the outside, without any bias, and just make our decision from that point. Okay, so I'm going to use street gangs because even if you're not familiar with the culture, you're going to understand what I'm saying. This is going to be very clear to you. So imagine if there was a huge street gang in Chicago called the GDs. And at some point, the GDs had a split and a smaller group formed from them called the BDs. Okay. Bear with me, y'all. Now, the GDs, when it was originally formed, it was formed with family members. It was formed with people that had the same ancestry. It was formed with people that went to the same church and lived in the same community and spoke the same language. But at some point, the little cousin decided to go off and start his own gang and break up the GDs into a smaller fashion, and they called themselves the BDs. Now, now imagine there's a big lake separating Chicago and Detroit. So there's a Lake Michigan in between those two, but let's call that the ocean. Let's make Lake Michigan the ocean. So now you have one big gang that splintered off into two, one smaller, one larger. And now across this body of water, there's another gang over there, and we're going to call them the Vice Lords. And the Vice Lords, let's say they the biggest gang. They're very powerful, very wealthy, and they are across the body of water from the GDs and BDs. Now, at some point, the GDs and BDs are at war, constant conflict, even though they're family, they're just constantly getting into it. And eventually, the GDs decide, you know what? I want to push into some of their area. And what they gonna do about it? They too little to do something about it. So I'm just gonna bully my way over there and take some of what was ours originally anyway. And that small group of BDs said, hell no. We're not gonna allow you to take any of this from us. We're gonna fight for it. But mind you, the BDs are too small to fight against the GDs. The GDs is just too big in number, too powerful. So the BDs make a call across the lake to the Vice Lords in Detroit and say, hey man, I'm into it with my cousin and them. They trying to take over areas that's ours. I'm going to need your help. We're going to need some money. We're going to need some guns. We're going to need your help. Now, mind you, the vice lords, they had a problem with both of y'all at one point. Matter of fact, they could care less, but they do understand that, you know what? It might be in our best interest to help y'all if we can. Because they also are into it with the GDs. So they say, you know what? We'll help you. We'll give you some guns. We'll give you some money, and we'll help. And for years, the vice lords kept sending money, kept sending guns, and the BDs kept getting a butt kicked by the GDs. No matter how much money the vice lord sent, no matter how many people or resources the vice lord sent, the BDs will essentially be taken over by the larger group, the GDs. And now the leader of the BDs comes and have a meeting with the leader of the vice lords. They go across that lake, sit down with the leader of the vice lords and have a conversation. And the leader of the vice lords is saying, y'all need to stop this altogether. Now, I know you may lose some of what was yours, but you're going to lose it all if you don't stop this. And not to mention that we don't have any more money to send you. We don't have any more help to give you unless you can promise us some of that stuff back. So you got to tell me now, we done looked out for you. We tried to help you. It ain't working. So the vice lord said, look, you need to figure out a way that we can get some of that back. And instead of the BDs agreeing with that, they say, you know what, we ain't got nothing for you, but you going to keep helping us. Matter of fact, you better keep helping us because one day you're going to need us. And we won't be able to help you if you don't keep helping us. So now the leader of the vice lord get angry, like, hold up, little dude, you know what I'm saying? We don't need you, mother. We're not gonna need you now. We're not gonna need you later. You ain't got no, you ain't got no power. You ain't got no strength. What can you do for us truly? What you mean later? What you mean we might be in the same predicament and we're gonna need you later? So now it's reasonable that the vice lord leader gets upset. Like, after I done gave you all this help, gave you all this money, you got the nerve to tell me that you're not gonna pay me back. You don't even want to talk about that, but you want to tell me that eventually I might need you. Matter of fact, I don't need you, and you can get the out of here since you're ungrateful for the help that you did get from us. So then the leader of the BDs, he feels offended. The leader of the vice lords, he's offended, and they end the meeting, with some contention. And that leader of the BDs goes back over the body of water back home, and now they got a big water fight that they're already losing, that they're running out of help. Now, mind you, there's other gangs there's other gangs in Illinois and Chicago that should be helping the BDs. He had to go across that body of water to get the help from the vice lords in Detroit. But you ain't getting no help from the Peace Stones, from the Four Corner Hustlers, from the Latin Kings. You didn't get no help from the gangs around you that probably need to be helping you more than we do. But you got the nerve to tell us what we need and don't need. So then, not to mention, this is a beef that they've been having for a long time. That GD and BD gang our beef and contention been going on a long time, because eventually, essentially they were family, broke off into two groups, the smaller being the BDs. And not only did they break off into two groups, years ago, about 100 years ago, they actually helped another gang war against their own cousins, war against the GDs. So now later, fast forward to now, the GDs done let you thrive and be sovereign and do your own thing in your own neighborhoods for 100 years. But now they saying, no, we need some of that back. We already should have wiped you out for how you joined another gang against us, and you used to be a part of us. But we let that slide. But right now, we're gonna come and get what we want. Now that's kind of exactly what's going on right now. Now, if you take that story I just told and now make the BDs Ukraine, the smaller group, the big gang that they warring with, the GDs, all in the same city, same country, quote unquote, and then go across the body of water. Let's make Lake Michigan the ocean. Across the ocean, you go to the vice lords. We're gonna call America the vice lords. Get vice lords help, not appreciate the help, and then continue to I'm not gonna say they did something wrong. I'm gonna say you refuse to see what cards you have. And those words was used. Those words was used in this conversation I'm gonna play. You don't have enough cards to bargain. You don't have enough cards to make demands or even ask for anything else at this point. When you in a casino and you run a tab up on a casino, at some point they're gonna stop giving you money to gamble with. At some point they're gonna say, no, matter of fact, before we give you any extra money, you're gonna have to start paying us back or give us something that's valuable enough for us to continue to give you money. That's what happens in a casino when you gambling and you keep losing. Eventually they're gonna say you're gonna have to pay us back. And that's essentially what's happening with this situation. Now, I just took what's going on between Zelensky and Trump and Ukraine and America and Russia, and I broke it down in street gang terms. So without thinking about Trump or Zelensky, because I know that makes people emotional, think about the story I told. And is it wrong if the vice lords refuse to continue to help in a gang that's not even on their territory, that doesn't quite involve them to the extent that they should be fully invested? All the while, they're also helping fund and send weapons to other gangs in California, to help the Bloods against the Crips, to help the vice lords against the Bloods in New York. They helping all these different places, but you expect them to continue to keep investing in a losing battle. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Okay. Now, in my little story I told, now also imagine that the vice lords, after giving a lot of money and aid to the BDs, they look around their own neighborhood in Detroit and say, damn, our streets are falling apart. Our houses are falling apart. Our citizens are hungry. We got a lot of them with nowhere to live. We got a lot of them. We have issues keeping them healthy. Our health care is in trouble. Our money funny because we done gave so much of it out. We done helped so many people. We're not even as strong as we should be. So now we vulnerable to somebody in St. Louis coming to get at us, or somebody, from the East Coast to come and get at. We leaving ourselves exposed because we running ourselves thin trying to help people that ain't even appreciated. Now, that's the story that I want to tell. Should the vice lords continue to help, even though they need a lot of stuff in Detroit? They need a lot of stuff fixed. So they continue to help a small gang in Chicago that is losing to their big cousins, who, out of just the pride of wanting their neighborhoods to stay their neighborhoods instead of being swallowed up by the larger gang? Should the vice lord still be responsible? Should the vice lord leader be offended if the leader of the BDs don't want to pay back any of the things that he was given, and then says, whether it was a threat or not, says that one day we're going to need them, so we better help? Imagine somebody 60 pounds, a 60-pound kid saying, help me move this 1,000-pound rock. And you be like, man, I can't do that. You're going to have to find some more people to help. And he like, see, all right, I'm going to remember that. One day you're going to need me to move a big rock. And you look at that little boy like, nigga, you little boy, you can't move. You cannot help me move this rock, and you're not going to be able to help me move a rock later. You too little. Don't tell me about what I need to be doing. We need more people to help move this rock, or we out, because I ain't no point in me helping you. You know what I mean? So enough analogies. I'm going to play the video, and we'll just let them kind of see if you hear some of them same things going on in this conversation. And to be fair, I went a little ahead of the actual blowout, because Zelensky breaks down how he actually did try to work things out with Putin, and he actually did try to sign a ceasefire, and it was broken by Putin. So I want to be very objective and fair, but ultimately that story I just told still stands. Regardless if the BDs were wronged by the big GDs, how much is it the vice lord's problem? And how long do the vice lords, how long are they required to help? So think those things as I play this video, and then I want y'all to jump in the comment and y'all tell me who's right or wrong in this situation. I want to hear y'all opinion. But let's listen to this conversation.
On the contact line, nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire, all of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Did you say what problem?
And let me explain for those that don't know. He just said they're forcing their young men to fight in the war. Now they're losing this fight to the point where they're grabbing, snatching, pulling, and forcing young people into the battle. Now go back to my story. Imagine the BDs running out of gang members to fight the GDs. So they start grabbing little brothers and little sisters who ain't in the gang, ain't even been initiated in the gang, and making them fight. That's how bad they lose it. And then again, and what Zelensky was saying, we tried to piece it up with the GDs, and they said, forget that. They still wanted to run up on us and take some of their blocks back. And that's wrong. But now listen to the vice lords explain their position. Again, America's are the vice lords.
Problems we have.
I have been to. I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems?
What
bringing people into your military?
we have
And
problems.
do you think that it's
I will
respectful
answer.
to come to the Oval Office
I
of the
will
United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know that.
bless. You will not have.
Now remember what I said. You got a nice ocean in between y'all, vice lords. You may not feel the pressure of war right now, but you will in the future, and you're gonna need some help. For those that don't catch it and didn't hear that, that's what was being said. Now, y'all, don't y'all forget, y'all been sheltered by y'all ocean, but one day you're gonna need some help. This is what that man just said, whether you can understand that or not.
War.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're
I'm
doing.
not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right
From
about
the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not in a
Mr.
good
Brown,
position.
I
You don't
was-
have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
Yeah, you're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think
You're gambling with World War III.
What you're
You're
speaking about?
gambling with
What you're
World
speaking
War
about?
III. And
Me?
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
I'm very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States
you're
of
speaking
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can.
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can-
trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I,
You have a damn
We-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank-
stupid president, $350 billion.
You
We
voted
gave
for
you
your president.
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for your
are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
If
West?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I
Accept-
said a lot of
accept
times
that there-
thank you
accept
to
that-
American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long.
All right. Well, I'm a stop it there because I don't want to sway people. I got my opinion of what I heard. I used the story to break it down and take it away from these people. That way, if you are not a Trump supporter, you won't get offended. Or if you are not for the war or whatever position you take on this, you're not going to be emotional about what you really heard because the media make you think you heard something else. I told a story to break down in layman's terms what you really heard this conversation be about. Now, I ain't gonna pick a side, but I want y'all to pick a side in the chat room. I just want, or in the comments. I just want to see where people are standing on this, and especially after I try to explain this in a way that can take these characters out, so you don't have to be emotional about your thoughts. You can just tell me, should the vice lords continue to help the BDs if they can't beat the GDs regardless of the help? And then the vice lords saying things like, you're very, brave, but you're losing. And you're going to lose millions of more people if you can't realize that this ain't going your way. This is what's being said but I know a lot of people can't hear it. That's why I had to try to take these characters out, make it about a different set of characters. Now you can replay this beginning of this video, listen to that story, and you tell me who's right and who's wrong. And if you think that I inaccurately depicted what happened here in this meeting in my story, then break that down too. I would love to hear you if you think that I didn't accurately translate their conversation into layman's terms, you know. So I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Thank y'all for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace.
Some of us have been rocking with AP from his Player for Life days right into his evolution to AP for Life. He's still the big homie, just a little older and a lot wiser. The most genuine dude on YouTube, keeping it real. And so many of you contact AP to tell him how much his advice has meant to you over the years. This channel has gotten so much support and love, from comments to likes to subs to shares to donations. All are very much so appreciated, and for those that would like to donate, you can do so via Cash App, $AP Family Man, or PayPal AP Family Man. All donations are appreciated and go towards continuing to produce content that is meaningful to the AP for Life fam. We thank you for your cash donations in advance. All relevant links to AP, including his book, Dirty Dirty Minds, are found in the description. Continue to enjoy the show.